Hey everybody, this is Noah with San Antonio's Finest Realty. I'm over here at Heine Gourmet Coffee with my broker Gasper Cifuentes from San Antonio's Finest Realty. Gasper, thanks for joining with me and letting me ask you these questions.
Well, thanks for having me, Noah.
You were actually the broker that facilitated my deal when I bought my first house.
Yes.
In speaking with you, you told me a story, and that story really spurred me to get my license and become an agent. And can you recap that story that you told me
Sure.
3 years ago?
Sure. Yeah. It's this testimony, is what really resonates with the company. It's how we kind of came from very humble beginnings and eventually spurred into the company that we are today. Back around '06, '07, I was married, and unfortunately, I was working a lot of extra jobs, and those extra jobs sometimes they take a toll on life and where you should really be putting your emphasis. Well, with that, all these extra jobs I was working, I wound up losing my marriage and went through a divorce. I found myself in a one-bedroom apartment, trying to figure out what to do with my life at the time, and I wound up just praying out to God and saying, I don't know how I got here, but here I am, so do what you need to do with me. And a couple weeks after that, I went to go have lunch with my cousin, who is a real estate broker here in town with a small brokerage. And he decided to invite me to lunch. We took off and we drove to an office, and I didn't realize at the time it was a title company. But he said, I need to run inside, grab something, and then I'm going to come back out and we'll go to lunch. He comes back out with an envelope, and I'd always heard about, commission checks and so on like that, but I'd never seen anything, before. So I asked him, I said, is that a check? And he said, yeah. And I said, you mind if I take a look? And he said, sure. So I opened it up, and it was $40,000.
Wow.
Now that I've been an agent for a very long time, I understand that those deals don't just fall out of the sky every day.
Yeah.
Those are very few and far between. But I asked him, I said, what is this? And he said, well, I sold a warehouse. I brokered the deal. A company called me, and they needed a warehouse. I found them a warehouse, and this is my cut. And at that moment, I realized that there was a better way than working all these other extra jobs that I had been doing for so long, basically for peanuts.
Yeah.
And it was literally 12 hours later, I was enrolled in my first real estate class online with Principles One. That's a true story.
Yeah.
And the rest was history. I put all the other jobs behind me and pushed forward.
I think within 12 hours of you telling me that story, I was enrolled in
Yeah,
classes
it
too.
could happen that way, definitely.
That's awesome. What separates San Antonio's Finest Realty from the other brokerages here?
So I knew that one of the things that I never wanted to do if I was in a position to create my own business model was to place that undue burden on an agent, a new agent. We want them to nurture and grow. Everyone is out there asking for fees and dues, and you got to pay for stuff, and you have classes coming up. So it's really hard for a beginning agent. So our company has no E&O fees. We have no office fees. And we have a very high commission split. The purpose behind it, again, is if you're going to be doing the work, we figure you should be the one that's going to prosper the most. And we as brokers with the company see that as our main mission. Our mission is not truly the customer on that side. Our mission is the agent on the inside. And if we're applying true leadership to the agents, then our clients are going to be satisfied with everything that we're trying to do out there. And
You have experience with the military and law enforcement, and you're taking what you've learned from that and translating it into the business, kind of feeds into the ride-along program that you
Yes.
started, which I don't think, not that I've seen any other brokerage does that, and at least in San Antonio.
Yeah. Well, the idea actually came from our associate broker. That was Joey Bada's actual brainchild, and it was brilliant, But when he told me about it, he just kind of spun the idea, and then I put it in writing and put it together as a whole, I made it pretty. And we wanted to give them at least a window that they could look through to see, hey, you know what? I actually enjoyed today. It was really fun hanging out with this broker. It was cool going on this broker preview to look at a house. It was nice to go to these new homes and see how a house is actually developed and built from foundation to framework, to rough in, to framing, and finish out and close out. So a lot of people don't understand the product itself. I mean, we sell homes. Most of the work we do is in residential, and there's a lot of agents out there that they don't know one thing about how a house gets built from the beginning to the end. And yeah, the home is our product, and you should know your product. Every agent should have a good idea of how a home is built and the things that can go wrong with it.
So you developed a lesson plan, and there's 3 blocks to that lesson plan.
Yes. Our training program for a new agent when they come in is broken up into 3 blocks. The first block is really on the agent. We want them to start to review the various platforms that we use, as far as the MLS, Zip Forms where we write our contracts, DocuSign, how we get things signed, amongst parties. When you get to block 2, you actually get to sit down with me personally. I personally train each and every one of our agents that come through.
Right.
And we'll spend 5 to 6 hours together, and I'm going to walk you through a transaction. I take you from prospecting, and we role play, and all the way out to closing day, and I show you what to do and how to do it. Block 3 is your training scenario. Now, when I was a police officer and when I was in the military, there was a saying that we used to have is the more you sweat in the gym, the less you're going to bleed in the field. And that is very true. And it's also very true as a real estate agent. If we put you through a scenario-based type of training that is realistic and allows you to fumble and make mistakes, but in a controlled atmosphere, you're less likely to make any hard mistakes when you get out into the field against someone that's been doing this job for 20 years. And so we have one of our senior agents that is our trainer. She can be difficult, but it's all for the best. And our agents, I'll put them up against anybody.
Yeah.
I will. I don't care how many years these other agents with other companies may have had. We've held our ground, and we hold our own very, very well. They're released to their trainer. They have a mentor, field trainer that they're assigned to for 12 months. And during that time frame, if they have anything that they need to discuss, or they want to have someone to review their file before they send it out for signature, this is what we do. We never leave the new agent alone. We want to make sure that they have the opportunity to have that safety net, if you will, as they move along through the process. And my purpose for training agents in this way is not to just have them work for me as agents. I want them to actually become brokers, and hopefully manage their own branch if that's what they want to do.
Steve, I appreciate y'all tuning in. Gasper, thank you for letting me
having me.
If you guys have any questions about joining the brokerage, you can go to www.safr.team or sanantoniosfinestrealty.com. And as always, if you guys need anything, my website is www.alamo-homes.com. Thanks for tuning in.